from the station working for you. This is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
Parts of central Indiana landscape under a light covering of snow tonight. The WRTV storm team says we're now in a more active wintry weather pattern. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin here with meteorologist Kyle Mounts. And Kyle, are there more snow showers on the way tonight?
Yeah, we've got some more in the forecast, Nicole. We're going to keep this active weather pattern going, but you notice from some of that video, while we've had the snow showers throughout the day, most of the roads have stayed just wet for us, and that's the best kind of snow, isn't it, when it doesn't really cause us many problems out there on the roadways. Since yesterday, though, when we started to see those first snow showers moving in, Winchester's picked up 3 inches of snow officially in the city, 2.2 inches, about 2 inches in Greenfield, and a little more than an inch there in Hendricks County, and also Rushville at 1.3 inches. Where we've still got some of those snow showers, mainly focused across central and southeastern portions of central Indiana, around Connorsville through Greensburg, even in through Nashville there in Brown County. But I don't think we'll see much in the way of additional accumulation. Everything should become fairly isolated for us as we go through the rest of the night. There, the low clouds still in place, but temperatures working in our favor in the 30s. We'll talk about another round of snow showers for your Sunday in just a bit.
Kyle, thank you. Now to our continuing coverage of the pandemic's impact on Indiana. Another 3,973 Hoosiers have now been diagnosed with the coronavirus. The state health department also reported 91 more deaths. The total number now stands at 8,913. Since March, more than 587,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19, and more than 6.3 million tests have been administered in Indiana. Yet another grim milestone, more than 2 million now dead from COVID-19 across the globe, according to Johns Hopkins University. And now some state officials are slamming the Trump administration for promising more vaccine doses and not delivering. Let's get those details tonight from ABC's Alex Prochet.
Hospitals overrun and healthcare workers overwhelmed with no end in sight to this deadly pandemic. Doctors at Northeast Georgia Medical Center say the ICU is at 200% capacity.
We are having to treat patients in the hallways and also in the ambulances.
The U.S. has already reported 3 million new COVID cases since the new year, and more than 100,000 cases logged every day since November 3rd. And the race to vaccinate inching along far slower than anticipated.
I don't want to die of COVID. It's that simple. I don't want to die of COVID.
Multiple states now have more appointments than doses. Some hospitals, like New York's Mount Sinai, canceling reservations as they worry about lack of supply. Grandmother Pat Jones of Texas says it took her 24 hours to book an appointment.
As soon as you try to get into the site to register, it either crashed because of overload or they had used up all the slots.
Now, several governors are accusing the Trump administration of lying that 20 million more doses were about to become available.
This is deception on a national scale. Their empty promises are literally playing with people's lives.
Earlier this week, Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar said the federal government was releasing the entire supply to states rather than holding second doses in reserve, but that those second doses had already been shipping out for weeks. Pfizer now saying in a statement, Operation Warp Speed has asked us to start shipping second doses only recently, adding that they're working to ensure Americans receive their first and second doses of the vaccine on time. President-elect Joe Biden says speeding up vaccinations is a top priority when he takes office next week, aiming for 100 million shots in his first 100 days as president by activating FEMA, which will help set up vaccination sites across the country.
And this is a time to set big goals, to pursue them with courage and conviction, because the health of the nation is literally at stake.
Alex Prochet, ABC News, New York.
Alex, thank you. At IU Health, a young group of doctors have been fighting the virus on the front lines, and they're known as the Pulmonary and Critical Care Fellows. Many call these frontline workers unsung heroes of the pandemic. The fellowship is an intense 3-year-long clinical and research-based program at IU Health. There are less than 24 in the program. WRTV spoke with 3 of the fellows who have been working on the front lines since March, caring for critically ill COVID patients. They say it's been a challenge both physically and emotionally caring for these patients, but all of them agree there is hope with the vaccine rollout underway.
I hope that we can go back to normal, if that makes any sense. in terms of not having to be socially distanced from anyone and be able just to live a regular life. What I don't hope that goes away is this sense of we're all in this together. I think if one good thing the pandemic has left is that it has reminded me how important it is to take care not just of myself, but the people around me.
Well, all 3 fellows are now fully vaccinated, and they told our Nikki Dementry the coronavirus vaccine is giving them hope. We shared their message encouraging fellow Hoosiers to get the vaccine when it's made available right on our website, WRTV.com. Tonight, more than 282,000 Hoosiers have now received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and more than 55,000 are fully vaccinated. Now that Hoosiers 70 and older are eligible to register, appointment times are filling up fast. Peggy Morgan, who lives in Avon, registered in Hendricks County, but was not able to get an appointment until February 8th. And on Wednesday, slots were completely full for her husband. But it is important to know that you can get the vaccine at any location convenient for you, even if it is outside of your county. Peggy made that choice, and now she's changing and getting the vaccine along with her husband at Eskenazi Hospital here in Indianapolis.
I have twin grandchildren due any day now. I want to be around them. I want to be able to be with them. And I'm tired of not being able to feel safe traveling. I want to live again.
Well, yesterday there were no appointments available at the Hendricks County Fairgrounds on ourshot.in.gov, but today I checked back and I found appointments now open starting the 2nd week of February. The state health department tells me more appointments are being added as more vaccines become available, so just continue to check back online. Tonight, an 80-year-old retired nurse and current volunteer with Community Hospital South is among the thousands of Hoosiers getting vaccinated. Rhonda Pertel received her COVID vaccine on Thursday night at the hospital where she volunteers. For months now, she has not been able to return there to the hospital or go out in public due to the pandemic.
I don't go out at all. Once in a while, the family will stop by, 1 or 2 at a time, and they'll sit in the garage with a heater. Also, my husband passed away during the COVID time, so we were really isolated there, and that was kind of hard for our family. You know, they couldn't come in and hug and visit, but we did it, as everybody else has had to. It's not fun, but it's doable. Did my sweater stay up?
Pertel says now that she is vaccinated, she hopes to be able to return to start volunteering at the hospital there in just a couple of weeks. One person is dead tonight after a crash on the city's west side. It happened this afternoon in the 600 block of West 29th Street near Dr. MLK Jr. Street. We do not know the name of the person killed, but we did talk to a witness who says he desperately tried to help that person.
Yeah, I'll go home. I'll probably have a good cry, de-stress a little bit, but it just makes you appreciate life a whole lot more. And, if people would just slow down and take it easy, things like this wouldn't happen.
No word yet tonight on what caused this fatal crash. Officers are still investigating. A driver is in critical condition after being rescued from a submerged car in a Greenwood pond. Emergency personnel crews were called to the incident just after 3 p.m. near State Road 135 and Main Street. The driver was taken to an Indianapolis hospital. Officials say the driver was in the water for about an hour before being rescued. Bystanders were trying to help get the driver out of the vehicle when emergency crews arrived. The nation's capital transformed into a fortress of fences and barbed wire, all due to the threat of violence on Inauguration Day. Up next, the latest fallout from that violent protest in D.C. that now has the entire country on edge. Local creative arts organizations are working to get back on their feet after a devastating 2020. Still ahead tonight, we're shining a light on how one local dance troupe is trying to make a huge leap forward.
America's #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer.
We are just 4 days away from the historic inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden, and security has never been tighter. Federal authorities are warning of a substantial threat after the siege at the Capitol as investigators make arrests and continue their search for rioters. More now tonight from ABC's Rena Roy.
Just days ahead of the historic inauguration, it's all hands on deck to keep Americans safe. Fences and barricades are up, and up to 25,000 National Guard members are expected in the nation's capital by Wednesday. Federal authorities warning the danger for law enforcement and the general public is, quote, substantial.
I don't know if anyone has raised their hand to say, we are coming, we will be there, but we are preparing as if they are.
The FBI concerned about possible improvised explosive devices and the ongoing threat to political leaders. Investigators saying the Capitol Hill siege likely emboldened extremists. At least 10 states activating their National Guard troops. Some Capitol buildings now boarded up. Michigan legislators suspending sessions next week over credible threats around the state capitol.
There's no doubt, what you saw on January 6th shows me that people are taking politics now to the violent realm, obviously, and there's always lone wolf concerns out there.
Horrifying videos show the violence that day. D.C. officer Michael Fanone stun-gunned, beaten, and overtaken by the angry pro-Trump mob.
It looked like a medieval battle scene. Some of the most brutal combat I've ever encountered.
The Department of Justice opening nearly 300 investigations related to the riots. Emily Hernandez, a Missouri woman facing federal charges after she was seen in viral videos allegedly holding a broken sign from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's door. Jacob Chansley, self-described as the QAnon shaman, also taken into custody. His attorney telling ABC he felt like he was answering the call of President Trump.
He was there at the invitation of and request of our president.
Chansley allegedly leaving a note for Vice President Mike Pence saying it's only a matter of time. Justice is coming. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
In this reminder, the state government complex in downtown Indianapolis will close to the public Tuesday and Wednesday, and this includes the State House. The state says the closure is due to threats to state capitals nationwide as the presidential inauguration approaches. But the state says there are no credible threats against Indiana's State House. The pandemic has forced many creative arts organizations to cancel nearly all of their performances in 2020, and they are finding ways to change that here in 2021. Tonight, Dance Kaleidoscope is in the WRTV spotlight. The longtime Indianapolis dance company performs on the virtual stage this month. We visited the company's studio on the Near East Side back in November as they rehearsed for their show, A New Dawn. Artistic associate Stuart Coleman choreographed the performance, and he had to scrap the original vision he had due to COVID safety precautions, but he says he welcomed the challenge.
So it's sort of a silver lining, like trying to make a lemonade out of lemon situation, because obviously, I would love to have, dancers being lifted and do all these great partnering things. But when we're in these circumstances, I just say, okay, these are the rules. This is what we this is what we have to do. And then you go from there.
A New Dawn is streaming now through January 24th. For more information, just go to WRTV.com and click on this story. Kyle, it's a great night to stay in, maybe watch a performance on your computer, watch a good TV show.
Yeah, do all those indoor things. Snow lovers, though, probably dancing for joy this weekend because we haven't had a lot of snow so far this winter, and it hasn't added up to a whole lot. It has been melting because those temperatures have largely been above the freezing mark, and that's where we sit right now downtown at 33. Feels like 23, though, because we've got that west breeze at about 14 miles per hour, and I do think that's going to keep us from really seeing much in the way of any fog during the overnight. But there's a look at radar, and you can still see some light snow showers here, mainly along and south of I-70, and I think they become a little more isolated as we go through tonight. So any additional accumulation would be very light, likely a half inch or less for us. That temperature down to about 25 degrees or so. As we look at TrueCast Sunday morning, we've got the clouds, and another system is going to slide through here. By mid to late morning, more snow showers, and some of those could be some moderate bursts of snow. Can't rule that out. As we get to tomorrow evening, things should kind of quiet down, become a little more isolated once again. Additional snowfall potential, could see around an inch. Some areas maybe a little bit more than that, but keeping in mind with temperatures near or above that freezing mark, a lot of it again will be melting as it makes its way toward the ground here. But Overall, about a ½ inch to maybe an1.5 inches of snow coming our way here as we round out the weekend for your Sunday. 35 will be the high in Columbus, so again, you'll have some melting there. 32 in Indy, and we'll make it to 33 in the Lafayette area. On Monday, finally, these systems will scoot off to the east. We may not see a whole lot of sunshine, but at least we'll dry things out temporarily with temperatures in the lower 30s. And then a quick moving clipper system may move in here as we get into the overnight hours of Monday into early Tuesday morning, bringing another coating of some snow to parts of the Hoosier State. So it is a busy forecast for us here over the next few days as we check out your extended forecast. Temperatures only going to top out in the lower 30s here the next few days. Still a little breezy as well. 35 there on Tuesday. Again, a few early morning snow showers, then a dry period for us. Could see some rain showers on Wednesday night as those temperatures will actually rise a little bit. Briefly warmer, 43 on Thursday. A little colder, though, for next weekend.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Counting down to kickoff for college football's biggest game next year. Indy will be hosting yet another huge sports event in 2022. Coming up next in sports, see how it's all coming together and how the playoff championship hopes to impact the city well past the trophy presentation.
Strength to make a difference.
Welcome back. Earlier this week, we saw the end of another college football season with Alabama winning the playoff championship over Ohio State. And 1 year from now, Indianapolis will host that event. It's a game nearly 4 years in the making, and the hard work is just beginning. Brad Brown has a closer look in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.
Less than 12 hours had passed since they fired off the confetti cannons in Miami. And already the college football playoffs started looking ahead, with all eyes focused firmly on Indianapolis.
Now that the clock has turned over and it's Indiana's time to host, the CFP will really be focused on the stadium, the infrastructure, transportation, parking, all the nuts and bolts areas. So what we really hope to add to the table is a unique element for the fans here to celebrate.
CFP organizers and the Indy Host Committee held a virtual handoff on Tuesday. Even from 1,000 miles away, the excitement of next year's title game is already brewing.
Their experience, not only with the 500 Festival, but also with all the NCAA events, will serve them well. This is yet another college event, another feather in the cap of Indianapolis to win the bid and then to show the rest of the world how they do events so well.
The game is expected to be the biggest football event here since the Super Bowl. What could be a $150 million economic impact, the potential for 100,000 visitors, and a 4-day football celebration spread across many parts of downtown.
Well, it's a bright spot. It gives us optimism, and it gives confidence to other event organizers and conventions who are scratching their heads saying, how is Indianapolis able to pull off March Madness in its entirety? How is Indianapolis still actively planning for the college football playoff now in a year? And so we've seen that. We've heard many other cities, many other event organizers, sports and otherwise, saying, what's going on in Indy?
Beyond football, the CFP Foundation and dozens of local corporate partners are helping to give back to the community. More than $1 million is already committed to several local education legacy programs, and 4 area schools will be getting media center makeovers.
When we launched this effort in 2017, one of the reasons you launched that early is to allow your donors to spread the funding over time.
But soon it should be time to kick off another championship night in Indy, a city that does that better than any other.
All of our leaders had spent plenty of time in Indianapolis at events, but more so they love the community spirit, and they know what a great job Indianapolis does in hosting events. And that may sound trite, but it isn't. Not everybody can pull off events the way that Indianapolis can.
363 days might seem like a lot of time, but there are literally thousands of details that still have to come together between now and then, with the committee, the volunteers, and the corporate donors all coming together and hope that Indy can put on another spectacular event here in 2022. At Lucas Oil Stadium, Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Water, the local water experts.
It's not even Valentine's Day, and Target is already making 2021 holiday plans. The retailer announced it will be closed on Thanksgiving Thanksgiving Day again this year. Target and other retailers were closed this past Thanksgiving to help reduce crowds and flatten the curve amid the pandemic. Instead, Target held week-long sales throughout the month of November to spread things out and offered more of its deals online. Target says the response was so positive they will do it again this year. Clearly, Kyle, people loved it.
And I guess it's never too early to get started on that list for next year, is it? All right, well, on radar, still some snow showers from Indy southeast. Watch out for a few slick spots this evening.
All right, Kyle, thank you. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tonight at 11. Have a great night.